Part B was started, decision-making techniques. So we are going to see different decision tools now. Then with the CVP analysis, then we have limiting factor analysis, then we have pricing decision, short-term decision, risk and uncertainty, right? Pricing decision, we'll actually do it today. I mentioned that in the yesterday's lecture that pricing decision is done, but yes, it's not done yet. We will be doing pricing decision, right? The limiting factor analysis. This area is slightly different, right? It's like less to do with understanding and more to do with memorizing the method, right? So what I'll do is for limiting factor analysis, I'll send you a video and make sure you see that video at least 3 times, right? It's not a difficult area, but yes, it will require you to actually concentrate more, right? So what you'll do is you will see it one time, then you will try to solve the question along with the video next time, and the third time you don't have to see the video, but the third time you are going to solve everything on your own, right? Very important area. Now the pricing decision, chapter number 9 is what we are going to do today, right? Pricing decision, chapter number 9, page number 29 of your notes, right? Now, pricing decision, of course, is a very important decision. What will happen if you charge too much from your customers? And what will happen if you charge too less from your customers? If you charge too much from your customers, you're going to lose customers in the future, right? Nobody's going to buy anything from you, right? If you charge too less from the customers, then you won't be able to have enough revenues, right? You won't be able to generate enough revenues. There are different things that you're going to consider, right? Like what is your own cost? For example, in absorption costing and marginal costing, for example, you consider that what is your own cost, and then you add a markup, and that is your selling price, right? So what should be your price? Should you just consider your own cost? Should you consider that what is your competitors charging, right? There are different things that you can consider. So what are those factors? Number one, organization goal, right? What is your goal, right? Do you want to grow, right? Is this your goal? Do you want to grow? If you want to grow, maybe you will keep your prices low, right? You will also consider the price and the demand relationship. Like if the price is very high, demand is going to be low, right? If the price is too less, demand is going to be too high, right? The price and demand relationship, right? We are mainly going to focus on this in a while. We will also consider what are our competitors charging. So if the competitors start charging less, you have to reduce your price as well. You will also consider your own cost. So you'll calculate your cost first and add a profit markup, and this will be your selling price, right? The cost plus pricing, we call it cost plus pricing, right? So the cost plus the profit is your selling price. You also consider the mix of the products that you're selling. So for example, when a new product is introduced, the price of the old product will be reduced. So when a new product is introduced, the price of the old product will be introduced, right? Or for example, you can also consider that, let's say, for example, you have 3 kinds of product. You have a superior quality product, which is expensive. You have a medium quality product, which is a bit cheaper. And then you have a cheaper quality product, right? So you have, let's say, for example, different kinds of pricing, right? Tesco's, which is a retail chain, right? They have 3 qualities like Tesco Premium, and then they have Tesco standard, and then they have Tesco value, right? The cheaper product. Similarly, quality. If the quality is too high, then of course you will be selling it expensive as well. You will also consider inflation. If the raw material is expensive, if the labor cost is too high, then that would mean that you will be selling it expensive as well, right? You can also consider the product life cycle. You know, the fact that at development stage, when you are not selling it, so of course it has no price. In the initial stage, maybe you'll have one price. When the product is growing, maybe you would like to change the price. At maturity stage, maybe you would like to change the price. At decline stage, you'll have a different price, right? So product life cycle will also affect your pricing decision, right? So there are different factors that we can actually consider, right? And the price and the demand relationship can be covered under the topic of price elasticity of demand, right? Now, if you have done F1 or F2, right, you would know what is price elasticity of demand, right? Okay, so what is price elasticity of demand? Price elasticity of demand, right? This is the economic theory which suggests that higher price of goods, the lower will be the quantity demanded. If the price is high, the quantity demanded will be less. If you sell it expensive, less people are going to buy from you. Price elasticity of demand, or PED, is a measure of the extent of change in demand for the goods in response to the change in the price, right? Now, watch it very carefully. I'll put one here and I'll put two here. Why one here? Because you are changing the price and you want to see that what is the effect on the demand. So with the change in the price, what will be the impact on the demand? That's actually the question. The change in the price, what will be the impact on the demand, right? Now there are different kinds of products. I'll actually give you some examples, right? You don't have to write it down, just see it, right? Price elasticity of demand. You want to see the percentage change in quantity divided by the percentage change in the price. That's the formula. This formula is actually given to you in your notes as well. Price elasticity of demand. The change in quantity demanded as a percentage of demand. So we can say simply percentage change in the quantity or demand, or so you can write D or Q, divided by the percentage change in the price. Now, what does that mean, right? So just see these examples. I'll show you some examples. You just have to watch it. You don't have to write it down, right? I'll send you the PDF later on, so you don't have to write it down. Example number one is there are different kinds of demands. First of all, the elastic demand. Elastic demand. What is elastic? Elastic. Elastic means changing. So a small percentage in the price, a small percentage change in the price will lead to a big percentage change in the demand. So it means that if you reduce the price little bit, demand will increase a lot. Elastic, changing, right? A small percentage change, so a small reduction in the price will have big increase in the demand. Or for example, a small increase in the price will have big reduction in the demand, right? That's what we call elastic product. So for example, we have an example. We want to sell the product at $10, right? So for $10, if we are selling 1,000 units, so how much is our revenue? 10,000. Now, if you reduce the price by $9, you can sell 1,500 units. Can you see a small reduction in the price and a big change in the demand? You have reduced the price a little bit, but the demand has increased a lot, right? So what will be the impact on revenue now, right? What will be the impact on revenue? The revenue will be increased. Can you see the revenue has increased? Now, let's say, for example, instead of $10, if you increase the price, the demand will be reducing a lot as well. What will be the impact on revenue? Revenue has reduced. Now, I have a question for you guys. Do you think in this situation, what should be our selling price? If let's say our original selling price is $10, should we reduce the selling price or should we increase the selling price? What do you think? Should we reduce the selling price or should we increase the selling price? What do you think? So yes, we should reduce the selling price. We should reduce the selling price because when you reduce the price a little bit, it will be increased a lot, right? For elastic demand, for elastic demand, right? Now, ignore what is price elasticity of demand greater than one, right? Let's look at the other example, right? Inelastic demand. A big percentage change in the price will lead to a small percentage change in the demand. So if you increase the price a lot, demand will be reduced, but just a little bit. So for example, at $10, if you sell a product, we can sell 1,000 units. If you reduce the price from 10 to $8, which is a very big reduction in the price, we can sell more units, but it's not that high. It's not that high, right? So what will be the impact on revenue? The revenue will be reduced. So in this situation, should we reduce the selling price? Maybe not, because reducing the selling price will actually reduce our revenue. So maybe we should not reduce it. Though we will be selling more units, but the overall impact will be that our revenue will be reduced, right? Inelastic, not changing, right? It is changing, but changing less, right? Now, can you guys give me an example? What could be the example of inelastic demand, right? What kind of products are going to have inelastic demand? What do you think? What kind of products are going to have inelastic demand? Like if you even reduce the or increase the price, the demand is not going to change that much. Or if you reduce the price, the demand is not going to change that much, right? Okay, I'll give you an example, right? Let's talk about, let's say, bread. So let's say you take 2 slices of bread for your breakfast, right? You take 2 slices of bread for your breakfast. If the bread is going to be very cheap, are you going to eat more? Are you going to eat more? No, right? Similarly, if the bread is even expensive, you're still going to buy it. The same is the case for medicines. If the medicines are expensive, maybe you're going to buy it, right? So if the price is changing or reducing or increasing, the demand will not be affected that much, right? Then the perfectly inelastic, which means it is totally inelastic, not changing at all. So if the price is $10 or $7 or $11 or $15, in all the selling prices, the demand will be the same. It's not changing at all, right? It is perfectly inelastic, not changing at all. In inelastic demand, it is slightly changing, but perfectly inelastic, it is not changing at all, right? What kind of products can be totally inelastic? Again, the life-saving drugs, right? Let's say for example, there is a patient who is suffering with a very severe disease. Let's say, for example, cancer, right? Now, whatever is the price of the medicine, we are going to pay for it, right? The same is the case for those items that are very small as compared to your disposable income. If you consider your disposable income, let's say, for example, I use normally an example of a matchbox. A matchbox, for example, let's say, for example, you can buy it for 1 cent, right? Let's say the price has increased to 2 cents, right? Now, this is 100% increase in price. But I mean, if you need a matchbox, right, it's such a small amount that even 100% increase in price will have no impact on your decision. So if you need a matchbox, you will still buy it if it is for 1 cent or 2 cents, right? Just a very small amount of your disposable income, right? Perfectly inelastic. Now the unit inelastic, which means that the percentage change in the price will be the same as the percentage change in the demand, right? Like, in order to consider the percentage change, I think we should do an example. If you see this example on your notes, it says the price of a good is $1.2 and the annual demand is 800,000. So this is the quantity and this is the price. So at this price, we can buy this quantity. Market research indicates that an increase of 10 cents per unit will result in the fall of 75,000 in demand. So let's say, for example, if we call it price number one and we call it price number quantity number one, and we can say that price number two, which is let's say 10% increase, so we'll call it let's say $1.3, 10 cents more, right? Demand will be reduced by 75,000. So 800, if you reduce it by 75,000, the quantity, the second quantity will be 725,000. So if the price is this much, quantity is this much. If the price is this much, quantity will be this much. What is the price elasticity of demand? If the price has changed from this to this, right? I'm simply going to put the figures in the formula, right? How do you calculate the percentage change? How do you calculate the percentage change, right? It's page number 29, example. So price elasticity of demand, we said the formula is percentage change in the quantity divided by percentage change in the price. So let's calculate percentage change in the quantity. Over here, and the percentage change in the price, right? How do you calculate the percentage change, right? That will be your last figure or the latest figure minus the old figure divided by the old figure, right? Now we know that the figures, the original figures are 800,000 and the second figure is 725,000, right? So we can say 800,000 minus 725,000 divided by 800,000. Now again, the original figure, which is 1.2, minus the new figure 1.3 divided by the original figure 1.2, right? And now if there is any negative signs, we'll ignore it, right? So this minus this will be 75,000 divided by 800,000, which is 0.09375. So in percentage, if you multiply it with 100, it will become 9.375%. What do you get from this? 1.2 minus 1.3 divided by 1.2. So it's 8.33%. We'll ignore the negative sign, right? So we simply have to write it over here, right? So quantity here, so 0.09375 divided by 0.0833, what do you get? $1.125. 1.125. That's how you calculate your price elasticity of demand, right? That's the formula. Please do let me know if there is any confusion, right? Now, once we get our answer, The rules that we're going to consider, or the rules that we have to see, is number one, if it is elastic demand, our price elasticity of demand will be greater than 1, which means a small percentage change in price will lead to big percentage change in demand, right? So you reduce the price a little bit, but the demand will change a lot. So it means reducing the price in this situation will be a better strategy. We should reduce the price. We should reduce the price in this situation, right? Second situation, inelastic demand. If the demand is inelastic, your price elasticity of demand will be less than 1, which means a big percentage change in price will lead to a small percentage change in demand. You'll change the price a lot, but the effect on the demand will be less. In this situation, we should not reduce the price. We better increase the price. Third situation, when it is perfectly inelastic, perfectly inelastic demand. And in this, of course, price elasticity of demand will be equal to 0. I mean, no effect, or we can say percentage change in price will not affect demand. Not affect demand. It's perfectly inelastic, and we said like anything that will not be affected at all. So anything which is like food or basic necessity, or anything, let's say for example, when you don't have a choice, when you don't have a choice. So ACCA, even if they increase their price, right, for their examination, right, you still have to pay it. You cannot leave it, right? And the fourth one is unit inelastic. Unit elastic demand. Unit elastic demand. And we said percentage change in price is actually equal to the percentage change in demand, right? Now you can actually relate to the above calculation, right? Percentage change in the price is equal to percentage change in the demand. I hope that you have written it down, or even if you have not, you're going to get it later on, right? But now you can relate it to this. Can you see? Can you see? Elastic product, right, will give you price elasticity of demand greater than 1. And our answer over here that we have calculated, it was greater than 1, right? So it is elastic product. This one is elastic, right? Inelastic products. So, I mean, there will be change, but the change in the demand will be very less. Perfectly inelastic, not affected at all. And then unit elastic, I mean, it will be equal. The change in the price will be equal to change in the demand, and the price elasticity of demand will be equal to 1, right? We can write PED will be equal to 1, right? So price elasticity of demand will actually help you a lot to take the pricing decision, right? It will help you a lot to take the pricing decision. Now, the same kind of argument is actually given to us on the next page, right?
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
If you can see these 4 points, right? This will actually have the answer of your question, right? So we have already discussed it, but let's read it. Price elasticity of demand greater than 1. It means elastic product, right? The price is elastic. Demand is responsive to change, right? Demand is responsive to change. So if you change the price, demand will increase, right? If you reduce the price, demand will increase. If you increase the price, demand will reduce. Here is, for example, 15% fall in the price will lead to 30% change in the quantity. What does that mean? Your price elasticity of demand will be 2. So if you change the price or you reduce the price half, demand will double increase 2, right? If price elasticity of demand is less than 1, it means it is inelastic. Demand is not going to be responsive to the price or not that much. If, for example, 20% increase in the price will lead to 5% fall in the quantity demanded, right? So if you increase the price, demand will be reduced, but not that much, right? So the price elasticity demand is 0.25, right? So the same kind of argument, price elasticity of demand is used for pricing decision, right? You want to see if the product that you are selling is elastic or inelastic. And for that, of course, you will be considering the price, right? And that's the reason, right? Let's say, for example, if the customers don't have any option, and let's say you're the only one who is selling a life-saving drug, well, the customers are going to buy from you at any cost, right? But let's say, for example, if there is a lot of competition, if you increase the price, right, the customers are going to buy from someone else, right? So price elasticity of demand. Is there any question on price elasticity of demand? Anyone with any question? That's one tool for the pricing decision. Now we have another tool, which is the demand equation. We are going to see the demand equation now. For the demand equation, I'm going to make a small diagram so you can just see and understand. Your examiner does not want you to actually make one, right? Especially after having a computer-based exam, you don't have to worry about that, right? So let's say, for example, on the x-axis, we have the demand, or maybe we can just draw it here. So on the x-axis, we have the demand, and y-axis, vertical axis, we have the price, right? Now, if the price is high, your demand is going to be low.